Okay? This is the one that really, like, again, a couple of reasons people don't love calendar spreads. Number one, it's a debit trade. They go, I don't want to buy stuff. By the way, everybody sounds like that when they don't want to buy stuff. They go, I don't want to buy it. But the break-even point at expiration of the near-term option. So we're about to get, when I say we're about to get serious, we're about to get serious. All right? Break-even points. The exact break-even point cannot be calculated. As an exact time value cannot be calculated. What? Yeah, you can't calculate exactly the break-even point. Even people that are experienced in trading, they don't like that. And I'll tell you why they don't. Most people don't like, they can't calculate an exact break-even. Why don't they like it? Well, traders have tendency to kind of fall into a category, and most people that get involved in trading, and I'm not saying this is everybody, so I never really generalize, but most. Okay, if you looked at a standard distribution curve, right? Here's a standard distribution curve of traders. Okay, one standard deviation, which is about what? About 68% of us, we fall into, okay, a very meticulous nature. So traders, generally speaking, you get some that are extremes out here, but most of us have very meticulous natures. That means you don't have to have a mathematics degree to be like meticulous, but a lot of engineers and so forth. Ultimately, the nature, though, again, of most traders tends to be meticulous. And when I say meticulous, unfortunately, what meticulous means in trading is you like to know, excuse me, sir, I am risking $2. Okay? So it's $2 of risk in this trade. The question is, what can you make? And you know what the answer is? I don't know. You don't know. You don't know exactly what you can make, but you can't pinpoint it. The exact break-even point can't be pinpointed. But I can tell you how to estimate it really, really well. And I got to tell you, this is the whole reason that some people don't like calendar spreads. This is it, because they can't figure out exactly what they're going to make. And they know pretty well what they can lose. They can lose $2, but they're even not totally sure because they don't know what salvage value means. But right there, you don't know the risk reward. And everybody likes to set this up. I want to risk 1 to make 1 or make 2 or make 3, whatever it is. But you can't do that in calendar spreads. And that's what really freaks people out. Now, if you can get through that and somebody tells you that, I think you're going to be better off in here. These are great trades. All right? Whether you trade a calendar spread standalone, every one of you, if you trade options at some point, will be faced with trading a calendar spread. 100% of the time, if you trade options, you will eventually be faced with a calendar spread. Even covered calls are, again, calendar spreads, and that's what's so important. So the exact break-even point cannot be calculated as the exact time value cannot be calculated. However, it can be estimated by looking at a particular stock's recent option chain, okay, with exactly 1 month left to expiration. So I'll use 1 month in my example. Use calls if the time spread use calls. Use puts if it uses puts. Okay, you can then estimate the break-even point by estimating how far in the money or out of the money that stock options, okay, can be for its premium to be equal to the amount paid for the time spread. Time spread or calendar spread. I use those terms interchangeably. Now, that is a whole lot of vernacular out there. All right? Let's go into the marketplace. The only way to really do this, all right? The only way to really, really do this is to start to go through it. And I've got some great examples broken down over here. But before we go into the examples, I want to take you through a couple of more slides. So if this slide gets your head spinning, that's okay. We're going to go through a few more, and then we're going to go into the market, and we're going to actually do this. Okay? Maximum profit expiration of the near-term option. The exact amount, okay, will be the value of the remaining long option at expiration of the near-term short option when the stock closes exactly at the money. What this basically says, and if you want to put it all the verbiage, okay, is this: where does max value get hit? If you select a 100 call and a 100 call. And this one is in Feb, and this one is in Jan. Where do you want the stock to fall? I want the stock to fall right at 100. Dead on. Why? These trades, again, have no intrinsic value. They have no intrinsic value. So therefore, only thing you can make on a calendar spread, better known as a time spread, the only thing you can make has to deal with time value. Okay? And that's why, again, I'm just going through a lot of the verbiage here. Okay? Take you into specifically where the most value can be. So I've already stated it, but when you do a calendar or time spread, wherever you put the strike here is 100, that is where you want the underlying to fall. Why? Because the trade maximizes value when, okay, the underlying falls at the strike price selected. Okay, it maximizes value. The question is why? And the answer here is the most time value. Recall, an option that is at the money carries the most time value because the at the money option has the most uncertainty of being in the money or out of the money. A deep in the money option or a deep out of the money option, okay, has a high degree of probability associated with staying either in or out of the money. Therefore, it will carry much less time value. Okay, now let's give you a big time out here for a second. So again, it's a lot to go through. Intrinsic and extrinsic value. We're actually going to go into a bit of a table here before I go to the live trading application and explain this in some detail. And again, I think this is the most difficult thing is to ascertain in the calendar spread. All of it's leading up to this. The following table shows an option chain 1 month from expiration with the stock price at 115. The table is broken down by intrinsic value and time value. Now, intrinsic and time, the words that you'll sometimes hear interchangeably, okay? Intrinsic value, and again, I know these are confusing terms. This could be called what we term real value. Time value can also be known as what? Extrinsic value. Time value is also sometimes known as theta. So these terms are used interchangeably. Theta, time, extrinsic, intrinsic, real. Intrinsic, real, theta, time, extrinsic. I just wanted to throw that out to you. Okay. What I'm going to explain here is notice that the at the money option, the 115 strike call, has the most time value. All right. While the deep in the money and the furthest out of the money, okay, the 95 and 135 calls have the least amount of time value. So let's go into it. Let's actually just show it. All right. So here we are, time value in a 115 call. So let me enunciate a couple of things that are in here. And, I put together this little table to help you with it, but here's time value in the 115 call. Now, the stock, apparently I can't even write, is at 115. By the way, that looks like a 6 over there. I promise I'm going to fix this. I'm going to fix it. Writing on the screen is not nearly as easy as it looks. Stock is at 115. So that's where the stock is. Now, what I want you to see is right here. Here's the 115. And again, strike call. All of these are calls. The call option with the stock at 115, and there's 30 days to expiration. Okay? So the stock's at 115. Let's look at the 115 call. Now, this is total premium, intrinsic, extrinsic. Time value and extrinsic, remember, are used interchangeably. Okay? So, with the stock trading at 115, what's a 115 call worth when the stock's trading at 115? Well, there is no what we term intrinsic value. There's no real value to this option. Why is there no real value to this option? Because what's the right to buy the stock at 115 when the stock's trading at 115? Okay? What is the right to buy the stock at 115 when the stock's trading at 115? It's worth nothing. Okay? So anything this option's worth, the total premium, must be for what? Must be for time value. Okay, moving on with this. Now, you can see that these are kind of shaded. What I want you to do is look at the total premium, look at the time value column, compare the three of them. All right? What's one thing that doesn't pay out in calendar spreads? Now, in calendar spreads, okay, and here all we're doing is looking at a 115 call, but in a calendar spread, what would we be doing? We would be trading the 115 call. With one hand, we're buying it, and here's also a 115 call. The other hand, we're selling it. Now, one of these might be for Feb. The other one might be for Jan, but it's still a 115 call against a 115 call. What column, okay, you can't make money on? If you have a 115 calendar spread and the stock goes to 130, people immediately think, I'm rich! Why? Because what's a 115 call worth with the stock trading at 130? It's worth at least $15. But I'm sorry, you're long a 115 call and you're short a 115 call. Therefore, zero. Okay? So what do you make on that thing? You're going to make zero intrinsic value. So the only thing, if we go to 130, that would be left was time value. And the way time value works, okay, check it out. Time value goes from 40 cents to 75 cents to $5 to $3 to $1.50, 75 cents to 40 cents. Time value is a distribution curve. It's a distribution curve. It's one of these little guys, right? Just turned on its side over here. Time value is going to be the greatest at the strike where the stock is currently trading. So the at the money option, say it with me, the at the money option is always going to carry the most time value. The at the money option is always going to carry the most time value. Why is the at the money option always going to carry the most time value? Because there's the most uncertainty here. See, when a stock's at 115 and you have a 115 call, at that point, there's about a 50-50 chance of the stock going up or down because there's that uncertainty. Is this option going to be in the money? Is it going to be out of the money? I don't know. Because there's that uncertainty, that option carries the most time value because there could be the most opportunity in that option. Opportunity knocks. And guess what? The at the money option answers. It answers with the most time value. As you go in the money, the option loses time value. But as you go out of the money, the option loses time value. Why? Because right here, there might be a 50-50 chance, right? Over here, now there may only be like a 30% probability. Out here, okay, now you only have like what? Like a 15% probability. Then out here, okay, what's the probability of this option working over here? And again, it just follows this nice little distribution curve. So, time out. You guys okay so far? Because again, this is actually kind of a crazy concept. You know, if you get this part down, the at the money option carries the most time value. Now we're going to go into a real marketplace and look at it. So we're going to cruise over to the live marketplace. I'm going to go into these spiders. It couldn't have happened to a better product, right? Couldn't have happened to a better product. And let's go and open up a bunch of strikes. And we're going to use the 22-day. And on Thinkorswim, we're going to go over here and we're going to set options, theoreticals, and Greeks. One of them we're going to set to what's called intrinsic. Excuse me. And the other we're actually going to set to what's termed extrinsic. Now remember, what's extrinsic? Extrinsic is also known as time value. So, without further ado, it takes it out a lot of decimal places too. It's so exciting. I mean, the calculation there is crazy, how fast it actually does it. So what we're going to do here momentarily is I'm actually going to freeze the screen, and then we're going to look at different time values and see, does this really follow? There we go, the distribution curve. So I've frozen the screen. Now, where's the money? The money is the stock price. The spiders right now are trading at 209.65. It's not perfect. It's somewhere in between, like, look, 209.50, 209.10, somewhere right in this neighborhood. But this is known as the at the money option. Maybe going to change the color over here to make it even easier. This is known as the at-the-money option. Now, as you go further in the money, notice the time value kind of drops off just a little bit. Here's $1.97, $1.80, $1.65. Okay, look what's happening. I'm shrinking. And as you go out of the money, what also occurs? The exact same phenomenon, right? What am I making? It's a distribution curve. It's just a distribution curve. Where's the most time value found? At the money, ATM. What's the ATM? That's where you get your money because it's at the money. No, it's not an ATM like an automated teller machine. It is an ATM which is at the money. The money's going to carry, again, the most time value because it's the most uncertainty. Now, this intrinsic value column, what is it worth? Absolutely nothing. Because again, if we did, for instance, a 210 calendar spread, we're buying these and selling these. So the intrinsic value is going to completely wash out. All right. Now we're having fun over here. Okay. Now we're going to start to really push the edge of the envelope in here. And this is where, again, throughout tomorrow's section, throughout, part 5 of our option essentials, and specifically to calendar spreads, we're going to go through calendar spread after calendar spread, and I'm going to get you guys to be able to assess value of calendar spreads without having to rely on much more, okay, than just looking at an option chain for a few seconds, and you'll know what the value of these things is worth. Maximizing value in calendars. In calendar spreads, you want to see the stock price at the strike price of the option selected at the expiration of the near-term option. Remember, we kind of went through this. If you're doing a calendar spread, what you want, you selected, okay, again, a 100 calendar spread. This should be easy now. A 100 calendar spread. Where do you want the underlying to be? 100 calories, right? 100 calendar spread. Where do you want the underlying to be? At 100. If you do a 115, you want the underlying then at 115. That's it. And again, the most important thing over here, not about identifying the good calendar spread from a bad calendar spread. Here is, you have to be identify, how do you know if a calendar spread is a good calendar spread or a bad calendar spread? Maybe. Okay. You got to figure this out. You got to figure out maximizing value in calendar spreads. If the stock falls at or near the calendar spread, okay, the spread will be worth the most money because the near-term option that was sold will expire worthless, okay, or near worthless, and the far out of the money option, okay, that was purchased will have the maximum time value because it's at the money. Now, let's go back over to the trading screen here. Let's knock down the number of strikes just to like 8 strikes. The point that I want to make, let's say you did a 110 calendar spread. Now, you're already in it, and you did this 110 calendar spread, okay? Sorry, apologize. 210 calendar spread. I'm all over the lot today, huh? So you did a 210 calendar spread. The 210 calendar spread. So what did you do? You sold these apes. So you sold, we'll say, the April, and I'm not even going to put the designation, and then you turn around and you buy, okay, for instance, the May. That might be a little bit difficult to read over here. Let's, rewrite that up over here so that you can see it quite clearly again. So we're going to turn around. Again, we're trading April against May. And in this case, what do? You sell these, okay? You buy these. It's the 210 against the 210. Now, price that you got into the spread, let's say at this point you paid for it 60 cents. Let's just say that you did this April, okay, May, 210 call calendar spread for 60 cents. The question is that a good price? Is this a good price? How do you know it's a good price? You don't know if it's a good price. Why don't you know if it's a good price? Because you don't know what it's worth. You know that you paid 60 cents for something. I can go in here and I can load up all the calendar spreads you want. And people always ask me, like, can you give me a good candidate for a calendar spread? My answer to you? Absolutely. Figure out what the calendar spread's worth. If you can figure out what this calendar spread is going to be worth a month from now or a day from now, then, and only then, could you tell me if it's going to be a good calendar spread? And what we're going to do is, assuming that this calendar spread was already on, here, there's just 1 day to go to expiration, and this option has 22 days to go to expiration. What's the calendar spread now worth? Well, these options are trading for 220, and these options are trading for about 45 cents. You do the math really quick, and it looks like, you add this up, 220 minus, for instance, about 45 cents. Looks like this thing could be worth $1.85, $1.86. I'm actually putting it right to the mark over here. Probably like about $1.86. If you paid 60 cents for something, that could be worth $1.86. I think that's a pretty good return. I think it's a really good return over there. But that's what you have to be able to figure out. How did I know that the $1.86, was good value? How did you know? And you need to figure out what the calendar spreads are ultimately going to be worth. What we are going to do, all right, again, in the next part of this session, we're not going to use intrinsic, extrinsic. Now we're going to start, to utilize the technology. And we're going to come in here to options, theoreticals, and Greeks, and we're going to use what's called the Theo pricing calculator. Now, for those of you that do not have the theoretical pricing calculator, that's okay. I will teach that as well. But what the theoretical pricing calculator can do, it can estimate what an option is going to be worth in the future. Okay? Let me close this up and give you an example to let you know precisely where we're headed tomorrow. In this case, what we're going to do is we're going to say, you know what? let's say I think the market will be at 210, which it pretty much is right now. Let's say you think the market's going to be at 210 22 days from now, that nothing is going to happen. What you can do is do what's called a calendar spread. You can buy, come up over here to calendar. And in this case, we're going to look at the what? We call these now the 20 May. 20 May means they expire on the 20th of May. Those are the options are going to sell. The options I'm going to buy are going to be the 10th of June options. So the options I'm going to buy are going to be the 10th of June options. This trade is at $1.10. Okay, now I'm going to show you the entire position over here so that we have no if, and, or buts about it. I'm even going to knock down the number of strikes so that you just see this trade on the screen. Okay, how am I getting these prices? Okay, first and foremost, I'm selling this option and I'm buying this option. Right? And I'm going to denote that by S for sale, B for buy. So I'm going to come in here once again. I'm going to sell this option. I'm going to turn around and buy this option. Here is the full spread. Note the prices. In theoretical pricing calculator, there's 330. Theoretical pricing calculator says about 221. What does that come out to? Again, I'm selling these, buying these. Should equal right around $1.10 debit. What is $1.10 debit going to be worth 22 days from now? How can you figure that out? Okay. Now there's several different ways to figure this out. But the easiest way, is to use a theoretical pricing calculator to lean on the technology. And really, like lean on the technology means all you have to do is this says May 20th. Go a day or two before the May 20th. So this theoretical pricing calculator, and if you don't have this drop down on your screen and you're not on Thinkorswim, again, do not fear that. This is a Thinkorswim tool over here, and it's one of the tools I feel pretty strongly about because, I lobbied for this tool to be on the trading application years ago. So you go over here and you look, all right, and you're like, when's this thing going to expire? It's going to expire on May 20th. Just go a day or two before expiration. Let's fast forward to May 18th. So now what we've done is we've taken the option pricing, We've taken the option pricing and actually pushed the date forward. The option we sold is now worth 73 cents. The option we bought is now worth what? $2.45. Okay? So you just kind of quickly do like a rough estimate here, right? So what's this spread worth? Well, $2.45 minus 70 something cents over there. Come on, rough and dirty over here. Not asking for like, this doesn't have to be like a game of horseshoes. Again, that's it. Just rough and dirty. The spread's worth somewhere around $1.70. Now it's worth about $1.70. That's 22 days from now. If you paid $1.10 for it, it could be worth $1.70. It's only about a 60-cent return over there. I don't love it. But there's the ability to do more here. You might be able to buy these back and then sell these, and then buy these back and then sell these. Okay? And have more opportunities to be able to make more than 60 cents on the spread. Calendar spreads have an incredible opportunity these days because of these weeklies, where we're going to pick up, okay, and really kind of part 3 of the calendar spreads, which is part 5 of this Verticals and Calendars Essentials. We're going to pick up tomorrow not only how to use the theoretical pricing calculator, but really the ins and outs of the calendar spread. We're going to make you much more proficient. If you can price what an option is into the future, the calendar spread becomes much easier. Finding candidates becomes much easier. Until you can price these, okay, you can't do calendars. You can't even do covered calls until you can price options in the future. And again, there's 2 ways to do this. Number 1, you can use a theoretical pricing calculator. But you want to know the most efficient way to know what an option's worth in the future? The most efficient way is this. What's an option going to be worth? Okay. Let me hit reset. What's this option going to be worth? This 43-day option. What's it going to be worth when there's only 22 days remaining to expiration? What's the 43-day option going to be worth? Okay, and this part I'm going to leave you with here. What's this option going to be worth when there's only 22 days remaining to expiration? And the answer, okay, lies in the fact that this option is currently trading for $3.33. That's with what? 43 days remaining. What's it going to be worth when there's only 22 days remaining? The answer is right in front of you. It's $2.23. Even the theoretical pricing calculator, which is like, one of the easiest tools. Like, people make this so complex. You know what the theoretical pricing calculator does? Just fast forwards the date. Look at that. $2.34. You didn't even need a theoretical pricing calculator. So a lot of people, they look at this and they're like, well, I'm on another trading application, Dawn, and they don't even have a theoretical pricing calculator. You want to be a stronger trader? You don't need a theoretical pricing calculator. You don't need no stinking Theo pricing calculator. If you want to know what a 43-day option is going to be worth when it only has 22 days left, look at the 22-day option. It's going to tell you exactly what it's worth. And then what's a 22-day option going to be worth when there's only 1 day left? It's going to be worth 50 cents. It is amazing. Look at, what? Short duration options to figure out what longer duration options could be worth in the future. I'll say that again. Look at shorter duration options to figure out what longer duration options are going to be worth in the future. That basically means, do you want to know what a 60-day option is going to be worth? Here's a 60-day option. Do you want to know what this is going to be worth, which is currently worth $4.05? What's it going to be worth with 30 days left? I don't know. But I know to open up the 29-day option and look at it and say it's going to be worth $2.63, assuming all other factors held equal. That's the best estimate of the future value of an option. And you can take my word for it, or you can run it through the theoretical pricing calculator. But the theoretical pricing calculator, I bet you anything, it's going to agree with me. What's this 63-day option worth? Here we are on the 28th. When we fast forward through a month of time takes us like to the 2nd. It's going to be worth $2.73, which is basically what this option's trading for. Pretty amazing to do that. Theoretical pricing calculators, you don't need them, okay, when you have an option chain right in front of you. And that's where I'm going to leave you with this in calendar spreads. And again, there's so much more that we can do with these, and we're going to learn to maximize the value of the calendar spreads, okay? And really, this is going to help you through all walks of life in options trading, is that you'll be able to value things in the future. One of the key components of this Options 201 is your capability of knowing, okay, that you have whatever position it is. This thing could be calendar spreads. It could be vertical spreads. What you're going to know by the end of this is this. You have a stock trading at 100. What if the stock goes up $5 or down $5? Or for instance, what if it goes up or down $10? Or what if it goes up or down $15? You'll be able to answer these questions. So you'll know what the stock is going to be worth when we're at, for instance, 110 or 115 or 90 or even 85. You'll know what your option position is worth if you use the right tools. With that, stay tuned for the last portion, of course, of our 5-part session here for Options 201. Now we're starting to get a little bit more to the extremes, pricing options in a real market environment. Thanks a lot, everybody, for joining us here for Options 201. Back for Part 5 tomorrow.